Hey crafters, welcome in to Guys Craft 2. There we go. So, sorry, too much going on this afternoon. I just got in from work. I decided I wanted to do a little sewing this afternoon. So I thought I would take an opportunity to jump online for a few minutes and do a little sewing and chatting. And if anyone joins, that's amazing. And if not, I'm still going to sew and try to get some things accomplished. What I do realize is what I wanted to work on and sew, I don't have my iron, but that's okay. So we'll set that one over to the side. And I think I'll work on a different project. I wanted to work on this one, but I'm trying to figure out what did I use last time to iron with? Hey Russ, it's always good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Today was just a crazy day at work, and I thought, you know what? Why not try to jump on, do a live for a little bit, and maybe actually get some sewing done at the same time? Because no one has ever seen me sew in chat, and that could really work out to be an adventure today. But we'll see how that goes. I have been working on this project and really like the way this is turning out using the charm and then coming back and doing the 2.5 inch border around it. So I thought I might try to work on that one for just a little bit this afternoon and see how that goes. Hey, Miss Sally, how are you? It's so good to see you join a live. I'm sorry that it's always so sporadic with me. Russ says I shifted QuiltCon plans to be less stress on me. Right? So does that mean you're not going to QuiltCon or you're going to QuiltCon later than you had anticipated? So, because we all have enough stress going on, I think, in our life as it is. But we'll see. All right. So you can tell it's getting a little coordinated, trying to figure out how we're going to sew and chat at the same time. But we'll get that going. I am sure we'll get it all worked out. I think it's funny because yesterday was a holiday, yet for our company, it wasn't a holiday, but it just seemed like there was either a lot of people out or just a lot of craziness. I'm going just driving instead of flying gives me freedom in the evenings. I so get that. It's funny you say that, Russ, because we are we're headed to Richmond, Virginia, to see the grandkids over Easter for a few days. We're actually flying a new airline called Breeze, and it's really exciting because supposedly, like their larger, their what they consider their best seats is more like first class on other airlines than that. But I'll be honest, since I changed jobs and don't have to travel anymore, I just don't have a desire at all. So as bad as I want to get to the East Coast and see, family and see my grandkids and that, it's like I really have to start weighing the options. It's like, okay, but you understand I have to get on a plane. You understand? So I understand if I could drive instead of fly, um, that's definitely what I would do. What we need to do is make sure that you all get out here in 2025 to enjoy our nice winter weather and get to spend some time maybe getting to meet each other in person and that at QuiltCon Phoenix. So I think that's going to be exciting. I have not been to a QuiltCon, have not been to any large show like that. So I am excited to see what that looks like, what that's about, and be able to do that. We had planned originally to go to Road to California this year, but ended up not doing that for a variety of reasons. And I feel like I really missed out by not doing it. But at the same time, um, I don't know, kind of glad that we didn't, but it's just really tough. So Russ says it's the 7 hour drive versus a 5 hour flight. But you know, the thing is with the delays and everything and all the craziness of the airport, it starts off being a 5 hour, but that doesn't mean that ends up what it is. Russ says, I'm undecided about Phoenix QuiltCon. The 4 hour flight drives my ADHD batty. I absolutely get that. Totally get that. My last job, I had to travel from east to west coast frequently, and it was just never fun and did not. Um, I just didn't. I'm just so over the travel. It's like I have no desire to ever get on an airplane again and do all the madness that comes with it. So we'll see. We have two trips this year. One for Easter with the grandkids, and the other one is Myrtle Beach. And we're taking the grandkids to Myrtle Beach. We do that every year, but that's the worst one to me because we get a direct flight from here to Virginia, but to get to Myrtle Beach, we have to connect in Charlotte and go over, and connections are just never any fun. So I'd love to know what projects you're working on. Russ is always working on some cool stuff. He always has the neatest projects going, especially if he's gotten a new box in from Fort Worth. Um, that seems to keep him busy. Sally, are you working on anything particular? Oh, hey, Jeannie, how are you doing? Russ says he's packing. I don't blame you. Takes us weeks to pack and get things put together for any trip. It seems like. So what today I was going to show you all. We were supposed to get in the mail today month four, block four. No, it must be block five for the block of the month club that we joined. So far, Shiplap has sent me January, February, March, and I didn't realize I got April. So today I think was supposed to be May, which looks like May flowers. Um, so that will show up eventually today. Our um, our mailman retired the end of the year, and so it apparently has really thrown the post office off. So we get mail anywhere now between 1 o'clock and uh, 6 o'clock some nights. It seems like so it's just been kind of crazy. But I have yet to really work on that block of the month. I got started working on the January and realized it was much smaller pieces than I wanted to fool with at the time. So I ended up putting it in a Ziploc bag and setting it aside. And that seems to be where a lot of things have ended up. So now I have one, two, three, four, five, six projects going, and I've got 14 quilt tops now for the long arm. And yet, what am I doing? I'm sitting here making another quilt top because sometimes it's just fun to hear the mechanics of the machine sewing. So we all have to do what we've been doing. Sally says I've been crocheting, but I have a quilt project to cut this week. Easy peasy pattern from So Yao quilting using their Vegas strips. I'll have to look at them more. I've watched them a few times on their lives. They're a pretty hilarious group. They seem really like a fun group. And I actually told Curtis I wouldn't mind. I'd love to go to Vegas and just go to their store and that. We used to go to Vegas 4 or 5 times a year because for us here in Phoenix, it's about a 5 hour drive to Vegas, and it's a 50-minute flight. I mean, 45, 50 minutes. And the funny thing is, we're not gamblers, so we go for the shows. We go just to have some time up there, and but that's it. And so I'd like to get up there at some point, but we'll see how that goes. Kelly's Quilts and Cruises is here. Hey, gang, I just saw this was on. Kelly is always has an exciting life. I love watching her live. She's got all the cruising stuff going on and all those fun things. So what else could you ask for? I don't know. I haven't seen a live lately. I will be honest. I have been really behind in getting to watch and enjoy some things on YouTube. It seems like our life just all of a sudden got crazy, which I think it seems like everybody I talk to feels that way. So I understand. It seems like, I don't know, it seems like since first of the year, I thought things were going to be calmer for us. I thought things were going to make sense for us. And that just hasn't happened. And of course, it doesn't help that I keep talking about, well, now we decided we're going to buy a summer cabin so we can get out of the heat in the dead of summer. And so now we're fooling with that along with other things. So it's like I keep disrupting my life instead of getting in some type of routine. Sally says, I'm not a gambler either. My bestie and her hubby live in Henderson. You know, I like going to Vegas. I used to. I like the vibe. I like the buffets, but I like going to the M&M store and Coca-Cola World and going to the shows. But we've never been big gamblers in that. And I'll be honest, since COVID, it just seems like Vegas has changed so much and it's not the fun vibe it used to be. So we haven't been back for a while. Kelly says, no worries. Thank you, Kelly. It is kind of funny. It's just, it's been so wild. Ever since February got here, it seemed like January kind of started slow. And I think January felt that way for us because we had all the Christmas to put away and we had all that stuff to kind of deal with to get us back to normalcy. And then, but it seems like all of that has drastically changed since February hit. Plus, it's been cold. It's not supposed to be cold in Phoenix. We moved to Phoenix so we would have hot weather year round. And it's actually been cold in Phoenix. We've actually, in the mornings, been down in the low 40s and only been as high as upper 50s some days. And yes, I've actually had to run the heat all day. And yes, when it's only in the 50s, I have to keep the house like on 72, which is funny because in the summertime, we keep the house on like 74. But cold is just different out here. I guess because we've gotten so used to being so hot in the summertime and that. So cold is just really cold. So, and I don't like cold. Curtis will tell you I don't do cold. I really just don't like anything about cold. And so that kind of drives him nuts, but that's okay. That kind of stuff happens too. So Russ says it's a dry cold. It is a dry cold. Y'all make fun of us, but it is a different cold out here. It's interesting. We have friends that have a camper up in Sholo and that I went up to see a couple of years ago, and it was in the valley here. It's 118, 120 degrees, and they're like, you need to bring sweatshirts and sweatpants and that because at night it gets cold. And I'm like, okay, see, I'm not an idiot. It's 118 degrees in Phoenix. And they're like, yeah, no, not when you get up, come up here and literally during the day, it was about 80, 85. And at night, it would drop to like 40, 30. It was a bitter, bone chilling cold. See, Russ says it definitely is a different code. It's just, I don't know how to explain it until you've really kind of been here and experienced it. We don't have, because we don't have the humidity, just makes everything so different. Um, But we have all the other fun things to go with it, right? It was interesting today. We were sitting at lunch and they were talking about because I'm from Kentucky, like, well, what do you have in Kentucky? Because the other night I was out and I was standing, I guess, on our front porch. We have a big covered front porch, and right through the driveway down the side of the house, this huge bobcat just walked by. And I didn't pay attention to it at first because we have a lot of coyotes out here. And the coyotes are all kind of skittish of us, which is a good thing. And then I realized, oh my God, it's a bobcat. And I can't believe I'm just like standing here with this big bobcat walking by. So we have rabbits, we have bobcats, we have coyotes, and we have, oh God, I can't think of them now. They look like big pigs, um, and they're mean. Those I have not seen out here, but we do have them. So it was just interesting. And they were like, well, what did you have in Kentucky? And I'm like, we had all that kind of stuff, but I lived more in the city and like, we didn't, those things just didn't come out around us like they do. They seem very comfortable here to come out. I use so right now, if you followed my channel, I use every machine. John has bought all kinds of equipment because I keep I have yet to find the machine I really like. What I am sewing on now is the Janome Memory Craft 6650. So far, I love and really like this machine, everything about it. And I started with Bernina 790. I think it was probably too much machine for me, and I just didn't like that machine. I ended up trading that for the Epic 2 that I have behind me. I bought a Juki to do piecework on, but I don't like the way that it knots and stitches because it wants you to use a leader, and I'm lazy. I'm not going to use a leader. And so I ended up buying this Janome. I'm lucky I've got a really good relationship with the store locally here, and when they take different trades, they have a habit of calling me going, do you want to come down and look at this? So I do. So now I become a Janome man. So just kind of crazy. Hey, Joydy, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in today. This was very much impromptu, but I just felt like I should sew. I'm trying to take Russ's advice. Russ said I should sew 30 minutes a day, even though he said he hasn't been able to do that yet. But I'm really trying to get in front of the machine more. So that is why I'm here. Sally grew up in Southern California near Palm Springs. We want to go to Palm Springs next February. I hate the heat. I lived in Texas 25 years, heat, humidity. I don't miss humidity at all. Back there now since back in Palm Springs since 2011. Still does, dead as the heat. Yes, it is just crazy. Sally's got a Janome. Yeah, I have been really happy with this Janome. It's one that I looked at for like over a year, and the store kind of kept talking me out of it. But sometimes you just know what makes sense, and it's a simpler machine than some of these other complex machines. Now, I love my Viking, my Epic, to do embroidery on, but that's what I'm using it for right now. Yes, Jordy, I'm glad you saw too. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to get a better schedule down. Work has just been kind of crazy, but it just felt like I wanted to come home and just relax. And Curtis is still at work, so I don't have to fix dinner for about another 30 minutes. So that kind of gave me the opportunity. Uh, see, everybody agrees with Russ. We all need to be sewing the 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes a day, but it's tough to do. Maureen says, I've been using my Singer for years. I've been happy with them. My mother sewed on, she either had Singers or Kenmore, right? Lady Kenmore's. And that's all I remember growing up, right? Singer was the machine. And I've got a few friends here in Quilt Club. I think there's three that still sew on a Singer. They love their Singer, but they're like 30 years old. I mean, they're older machines. It seems like when you see Singers that people are attached to, they're still that older model. So it has been kind of crazy. All right, let's see. All right, now see, I was talking and forgot where I left my scissors. There we go. And the other thing for me is it's really learning, um, still trying to get used to the 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm getting a lot better about that. I'm trying to pick semi-complicated patterns, but really it's just, the way you learn is just sitting down at the machine and just pushing fabric through. And It takes a lot of time. I feel like it's funny. What I hate doing most is prepping and cutting. And I spend a lot of time cutting fabric and getting projects ready to sew. And I think I do that sometimes just because it's less intimidating to me than sitting down behind the machine. But you just got to put your butt in the chair and just get it done. Russ has a 100-year-old singer. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we talked about. I think you did. You talked about your old singer on a live, if I'm not mistaken. I have an old. I think my singer is like. I have a featherweight, and I think it's like a 1950s. It was funny when I went to buy the long arm. The lady that was selling the long arm, I knew had a featherweight, and I told her, I said, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to buy the long arm or not, but I definitely want the featherweight." She goes, "Well, I'll give you the featherweight if you buy the long arm." So I guess she knew how to talk to me because I ended up with both. So I don't know what to say. Oh, that's interesting. Kenmore machines where the serial number starts with 385 were Janome machines. Interesting. See, Joydy says I'm still trying to complete my Christmas quilt. So just to be clear, I did complete. What was it? One of the quilt tops I just got done was a Christmas quilt, I believe. And see, I got it done in January, which means I'm 11 months ahead. So I was very excited to think I was working that far ahead. So we just said that that was a 2024 Christmas quilt. We didn't talk about the fact that John didn't get it done in 2023. So that made it more exciting. Of course, it's still not done. It's still sitting on the long arm. The nice thing about having that big long arm is that it holds all my quilts. And they look so nice lined up across the long arm. And then when I told Curtis today, I was like, I think we need to hurry and get the cabin because like I just need a weekend to get away. And he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, when we get the new cabin, I want to make sure there's room for me to be able to sew and do things. And he's like, I thought we were buying the cabin so we could get away and be stress free. And I said, yes. And sewing is my stress release. And then he had the nerve to say, not from the language I hear coming out of the sewing room sometime. So just because I talk to my machines doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying what is going on in here. Sometimes the machines have a mind of their own and they just need a little discussion to understand who's going to be boss. Unfortunately, I've realized that the machines end up being boss many times. Exercise bike to right. It is like having an and I remember so you say exercise bike, Kelly says exercise bike to hold your, laundry. I remember that. We actually had, the Nordic Track skier is what we used to hold our, laundry because I remember at some point, that was the thing. Everybody had to have a Nordic Track skier. I don't even know if Nordic Track is even around anymore. But we all ran out and bought Nordic Track at some point, and as a result, ended up with a different type of skier. So look at this. Is this not going to be a pretty quilt when it gets done? It's going to be a little wild, a little crazy, a little different, but I am anxious. These are turning out to be 9 by 9 inch squares, and I'm anxious to get them all done so then I can get the design wall back out and hung up so I can actually um, put these up on the wall to see what that is going to look like when it is all said and done. So this weekend we have the um, Quilt Club has their Would it be semi-annual? No, it wouldn't be semi-annual. Biannual? We have a quilt show every other year, and so this is the quilt show year. So I will be volunteering 11 to 1 on Saturday and Sunday. So if anyone's local, feel free to stop by. Thank you, Sally. I do think I'm very happy. I love springy, Joy. Um, just something about it. She said she had the Nordic crack. You know what's funny is I never lost any weight or necessarily got in shape on the Nordic crack, but I did like the Nordic crack. I don't know what it was about that machine, but when I did use it, I really liked it. Curtis likes to go to the gym and use the elliptical, and for some reason, the elliptical doesn't do it for me. But the Nordic crack, in a lot of ways, reminded me of the elliptical. Jean says, how many blocks do you need to make? I think I decided five by, no, yeah, 5 by, I think I decided 36 blocks or 38 blocks. So I'm not sure. And I will tell you, it's one of those things that this is where this becomes John's quilt because a lot of times I start stitching and then I start laying it out on our spare bed. And then I decide, oh, that needs another row, which of course means it needs another row this way or it needs another row that way. So I'm not following a true pattern. I saw this done on Facebook and tried to find who did this to give them credit and talk about it and never could find it again, never could get it to pop up in my history or feed, so I'm not even sure how it got there to begin with. And so I only remember kind of how they did it, but not, I didn't get any particulars around it. So because of that, we are once again winging this and making it truly a John project. But the nice thing is when it becomes a John project, so you can't make a machine. Thank you. I do like this fabric. There's something about this charm pack, and believe it or not, I actually went shopping in my stash and I found the coordinating fabrics to go with this charm pack. So I, for once, actually am using um, pre-purchased fabrics and charm packs for a change. So I did not run to the store and buy all new fabrics and stuff for this particular project. Not to worry, if you all like the shopping sprees and that, you don't have to wait long. I'm sure we'll find another reason for John to go to the store and buy something. Interesting enough, where we're looking at in northern Arizona to get the cabin, there is a really nice quilt shop that's in that small town. So we'll be able to provide some economic stimulus to that community as well, and help that quilt shop out. I'm sure at some point because yeah, it's fun going in the different, and I like the smaller quilt shops. Not so much into these mega stores and that. I like the attention and customer service and that you get from some of the smaller shops. Wish I had that machine now. Maybe I would use it. I'm not going to say that I wish I had that machine now because I would probably not use it. The sad thing is, we live in a really nice retirement community. As part of that, we have 4 rec centers. We have 6 golf courses. Um, each rec center has at least 2 pools, some indoor and out. We have a big, huge walking pool, all that kind of craziness. And yet, like Sunday, Curtis is like, let's go to the pool. And I'm like, okay, we can't go to the outdoor pool, even though we keep our outdoor pools at 83 degrees, 78 to 83 year round. Doesn't matter how cool or whatever it is outside, our pools are heated year round. I can't stand to get out of a pool that's decently warm into the cold air. He doesn't like going to the indoor pool because he thinks the chlorine just overtakes you. So we just didn't do anything. So, look, Maureen says she's proud of me for shopping in my stash. See, for once, see, I keep telling Curtis there's a reason you want to have a stash built up like that. And I actually felt pretty good that I had stuff that I thought would work on this project that would coordinate and make a pretty quilt. So it did make me feel pretty good to do this. And so I will say um, it was kind of fun to be able to just go pull something off the shelf for a change without going to the store. Um, Plus, you have to remember you got to use your stash occasionally because I'll be honest, I'm just running out of room, and so I keep invading and hedging a little bit more and a little bit more space, but it's like at some point, it's like really, you just got to go, dude. You got to cut back a little bit somewhere. See, I could not be at QuiltCon. Can you imagine me at QuiltCon? Um, that would just be awful. I would have so much fun buying stuff I absolutely did not need and just would want anyways. So it's probably a good thing I am not at QuiltCon this year. But we will save our pennies and we will plan to be at um, QuiltCon in Phoenix when he gets here. Kelly says she's been using her stash a lot lately too. See, especially for the rainbow string quilt, but I don't have big enough variety of green, or at least not the right tone of green. That's my problem too. A lot of times it's just like I'm getting ready to work on that marine quilt that I want to do as a Christmas present. And the problem is, um, I want a red, but I want one of those blackish reds to go with it for the Marines. And it's like I've got four big solid things of red that probably have 3 or 4 yards each on it, and none of them seem like the right red because most of the reds I've bought, I guess, have been more Christmas red. So it's all the shades that you get into. It's amazing to me. Um, oh, thank you. I I like to take credit for having a decent eye with color. I will give Curtis credit. That's probably his strong suit. He does not absolutely want to do anything with the mechanical side of it, but he's got a good taste for color. But between the two of us, we usually seem to pull it off. But thank you. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, see, I'm not the only one that would go wild. Russ says you have to worry about shipping next year from QuiltCon. Yeah, see, that's the nice thing. It's funny. We went to the Scottsdale show. It was back in October. They have a big show, and it's about 8 aisles and all this craziness. So we went down the first aisle, and Curtis goes, "I'm not carrying all this stuff." And I said, "That's fine. Just take it to the car." And he goes, "Okay, well, are you going to wait here or just go down the next aisle?" And I said, "Well, I'll probably wait." And he goes, "Don't buy anything." So by the time he comes back, I'm two-thirds down the second aisle. I've already got like 4 or 5 more bags. And he goes, "Look, I'm not carrying this stuff and I'm not going to the car all day. So we'll finish this aisle and then I'll take this stuff to the car. And you absolutely cannot buy anything at the rest of the show." So it's nice that he tries to voice an opinion in that. And it's kind of funny at times. But yes, we did buy more after that. Yeah, sometimes you just need to buy a specific thing. That's true. You do, John, go wild. Sometimes I just need that's okay to buy a special color. See, it's okay to buy a special color. Sometimes we need just, we know what we need, and it's a Christmas gift, right? So I look at it as an investment because I'm not buying it just to sit on a shelf. I'm buying it as a gift to someone, and I want it to look right when they get it. So it is what it is. So we'll see. But I don't know, kind of crazy. Tonight for us is halibut in the oven and quinoa. So that is the dinner that I will be fixing tonight. Joey said he needs to take your cards and your money. Yeah, but then that wouldn't be any fun because then we wouldn't have any new stuff to bring home, do a YouTube live on and share all our experiences. And see, it's just, I don't know. It is an addiction. I will have to say. I We do other crafting, which is what's crazy. So it's not like we just quilt and do this, but yet this has really become our passion and kind of taken over. I had someone the other day call because they wanted us to do a custom wreath because we had, and Curtis goes, "When's the last time you've done a wreath?" And I said, "Well, it was probably Christmas." We had a few customers that we had done wreaths for, so I had to get the stuff back out, and he had to go over to the storage unit to get a lot of that stuff so we could knock one out real quick for what's been a really good customer. So it's just funny. It's like, wow, we still have other interest and other things going on. She says, "I don't say anything when my husband buys fishing stuff. Just saying." See, I understand. It's like um, we were talking about. I went to the machine embroidery club this week here as part of our quilt club. It's one of the special interest groups, and they were talking about their husband spends lots of money on um, cars and always buying something for cars and that they encourage that because every time he spends more money on the cars, that just gives more leverage to go buy other things. So it is what it is. We all have something that makes us passionate. So I don't know, just kind of crazy, but kind of fun at the same time. It's as long as you're able to afford it and you're not going in debt for it, that's what's important. And this is what we enjoy. We have a few social clubs that we enjoy. We enjoy doing some parties. I bought 60 um, roses, and I didn't think about trying to buy artificial roses a couple of weeks after Valentine's was probably not the smartest thing because a lot of places were out. But we're having a derby party, so on May 4th, which being from Kentucky, so we'll have a lot of friends here. I'm working on making some hats for us and that. And so I want to make some arrangements and do some stuff right for the run for the roses. And so, that was, it's an investment, because we want the house to look right. We want our friends to have a good time when they show up. And, it is what it is. So we have to get it all figured out sometimes. So I am going to finish this block and let's see how this one turned out. I think this one turned out pretty good. So I got 4 blocks done. I will say sewing, reading the chat, and talking all is is definitely using all my senses today. Maureen says, "I'm the one who cut me off from buying more fabric. It was just buying and not sewing any of it." Right. I agree. I will say it. That's why I have tried to say, um, like one of our stores here locally has what they call black bag. I love going to black bag. Curtis even asked me a couple of times last weekend, if I was going. And I actually just told him no, I just can't do it because we've just got too much. I've already got too much stuff sitting here. Plus, I just bought all that stuff from Villa Rosa, and I really didn't know I bought all of that. Um, so it is what it is. Sally says she's got a quilt friend's husband, likes motorcycles, so he doesn't say anything about her purchases, even bought his own featherweight and has done a bit of sewing, right? See? So that's what I keep trying to encourage Curtis is to get into some of the sewing and that. And we'll see. It's not necessarily his forte, but he doesn't care that I do it. So we'll see how that goes. Well, folks, I appreciate that you jumped in, and I love being able to sew and talk a little bit and have time with each of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Curtis is home, which means now I have to go make dinner, so I have to jump off the live. But I hope you all have had a good start to the week. And until next time, happy crafting.